right, hello. How's everybody doing today? Yeah, buddy, bud. All right. Yes, bud, buds. Yep. Go ahead. All right. Sound looks like it's coming through. Okay. Just let me know if you can hear it. Oh, come on, go play. He's been so good. Um. Anyway, numbers came in. Kind of an absolute dumpster fire. Sounds good. Thank you. Yeah, core PPI came in as exactly as expected. Slight adjustment before. Again, core is the one that, again, as I mentioned before, core is a little bit more wearing right now because that's basically the price of everything, right? Taking taking the volatile stuff out, we know the volatile stuff moves, but core is what we're kind of like, hey, listen, it's continuing to rise. Now, core retail sales, worse than expected last time, worse than expected this time. So we're starting to see the spender not spend as much money. So there's always that, which is not fun. PPI itself, also worse than expected, and a slight adjustment. And then obviously retail sales, just overall, again, not the best number there. So the interesting part about this is that the comments that are coming out. Oh, look, we got this one minute ago. Yeah, Fed is still expected to go to 5.2. It's funny. He's always going to be more bullish, but 5.25 to 5.5. Inflation will most likely fall in 2023, but not as quickly as the financial markets anticipate. Fed policy is almost restrictive, but we're not quite there yet. The current policy is not quite in restrictive territory. It needs to be over 5. Again, consistent from him. We know we got that one. Barkin also, it's too soon to end Fed hikes as inflation lingers. So it's interesting the way that the market has taken this. I mean, the dollar is basically more or less getting blown up. The data, it's funny. The dollar, if you guys can see it, the dollar actually started to move at midnight, right? Kind of like it's like wow, middle of the night, it took off, right? Um, I hate to say that it wasn't out, but again, it moved in ways that there was some yen movement, right? Obviously, we got some yen play in this one, but definitely some dollar movement and kind of throws you off there a bit. The pound seeing strength also across the board. That euro pound at 94 is a big move, right? So that's kind of a bigger one. And again, CPI, holding firm at 10.7. Oh, I'm sorry, 10.5. It's a little bit of a drop, but again, not kind of where you want to be, right? So, next release we're going to have tonight is going to be the Aussie unemployment rate and unemployment change. Okay. The Aussie kind of did a pause and then saw inflation rise. So, I'm very curious to see what happens with this one tonight. After we have, the entire day of basically kind of like resettling, right? Profit taking, resettlement, everything gets back to where it was. I think tonight will be a pretty good setup at 7:30. So that should be good. I'm liking that one. Tomorrow morning, right? We have unemployment claims. Philly Fed. Again, we know that the Empire Fed got just blown to pieces. See what we have with Philly. Philly's been a bit more resilient. It's done much. It's hands down, it's done much better. Um, I think one or two. I don't know. In the last year, I think there's been twice where it wasn't as good, right? Um, than what we had with Empire, but for the most part, it's been better and more resilient all the way across the board. So I expect to see that as well. So nothing super crazy tomorrow morning. I will expect that, here we go. Significant rates are justified in the near term to keep inflation expectations under control. Yeah, it's funny. They're saying this with the ECB, but, again, you're seeing, you know, this is getting a little bit worse, right? People aren't falling for it. So, yeah. And then this was another one we saw too. And again, it's a CNBC article, but, the Chinese market, the Chinese economy is going to be on fire in the second half due to reopenings and, you know, kind of the change in policy, right? Um, you know, it, I think it makes sense, right? You didn't do the close down that you thought you did. Again, other nations are real definitely on the recovery path. looks like they're getting, inflation under control, but not bad. So again, they need China. Yeah. So that's the other big headline. So nothing, again, like I said, I expect we're going to get more of these, but Bullard, Barkin, everybody's saying we need to go over 5. The market just doesn't believe it. The market's like, it's going over 5. No, it's not. So it's weird. I don't know why the market is still showing so much just, I don't know. For some reason, they just don't believe the Fed. Like I said, the Fed is looking at it with prices coming down. It shows that the Fed knows what they're doing, that it is working what the Fed is doing. But yet, and they're telling us exactly what they're going to do to kind of maintain that. And yet people are like, they're not going to raise it. What are you talking about? No, it's not a thing, right? So, yeah, I don't know. We will see. All right, let's go over. What are you doing, kid? Yeah, you can play with that. That's okay. Where is it? Here we go. So the VIX, right? So this morning, obviously the VIX is starting to head back to the downside. Makes complete sense, right? The data is out. Wasn't great. Again, the market looks at that one as saying, hey, they're not going to raise interest rates anymore. They're done, which again is the exact opposite what everybody on the Fed has said. Still lost at that one, but it is what it is. So I would expect the VIX to continue to drop today. With all this bad data out there, this is another one of those situations where technically the market is taking this bad as good. And what's weird about this one is like, well, lower retail sales means lower earnings, which means, again, across the board, companies aren't going to be profiting the way that they are. Yet the market's continuing to rally because they were more worried about rising interest rates and what that was going to do to businesses for lending. Lending is great, and I guess they're really relying upon the U.S. consumer. But right now, we're seeing the consumer back off, and that's the only reason we are where we are right now is because the consumer was spending. They're not spending right now. It's kind of a bad recipe. But right now, again, because interest rates are the main focus, and they're looking at this as bad data, the Fed's not going to go as strong. We have all green indices right now. Okay, now whether that's justified or not, again, it is what it is. It's the reality of what's going on. Oil. Interestingly enough, we're seeing oil back up at 82. Obviously, somebody didn't get the memo. Yesterday, we talked about how we wanted oil back at 75. We wanted, but we don't always get what we want. 82 is the wrong direction. Go the other way. And again, some of this may also have to do with China. And again, their economy booming in the second half is kind of an increase in demand again. And that's why we're seeing oil start to creep back up again. As well as we know that, the Strategic Oil Reserve, they're kind of doing like these stealth purchases. So again, there is a little bit more demand to kind of refill that. It is what it is. Now, natural gas is down. We talked about being up 9% yesterday, so we expected that to come back down. It's only down 3.5. I say only 3.5 or 3.7. Could obviously have been 9 down, but it's just retracing back. We're back at that 350 area. Gold and silver both up. Again, gold and silver actually, silver's had a little bit more of a little bit more whipsaw than gold did. But we are seeing these, again, a little bit higher. And this was extremely weak data. It came in worse than expected. And again, for some reason, the market really feels that that's it. The Fed's going to look at this and be like, you know what? That's it. We're down. We're not going to raise it anymore. We're going to see how it works. And I don't know. They've been pretty clear. I don't know. They've been clear and consistent with their message that they are taking it over 5. But yet the market's like, nah, they're not taking it over 5. So I don't know. We'll see. But silver is about double what gold is right now. So technically it is, again, it's done what it's, supposed to do today, although the gold chart looks a little bit different. Now we'll start off with the Aussie dollar. So Aussie dollar, we've drawn some tops on there. You can see this kind of like this area here. We said we weren't really big into taking it for another short. And again, we had a touch here, again, a little bit of a bounce right beforehand. And then we literally just kind of baselined on it, right? We based back and forth. Now, midnight last night, or just a little bit past midnight, that's where we saw most of the dollar movement. That's where we saw the start of a lot of the dollar movement. It was no different here. That's when it really started to move. We knew we had sellers up top, and you can see it had a lot of problems going through that area. And then around 7:30, again, before the news all came out, the news all came out at 8:30 this morning, right? All at 8:30. 8:30 wasn't until here, right? So again, we'd already started to see a push up in the air. And this is why I said, it's almost like people knew what it was going to be. Again, it's not like there's one secret file, like nobody has any idea. But a lot of this movement came in, or even the market anticipated it well ahead of time and already started to price it in. So trying to play it after the fact is not necessarily the smartest thing to do, right? Because the price movement has already happened. Typically we look at the European session to kind of give us an idea. And again, even the European session, it was chopping around here for the European session, right? Not really a telltale sign, and then all of a sudden it takes off at 7:30, an hour and a half before the news comes out. Not typically how you like to play news. So where we are right now, again, you're starting to see it pull back down again. You're like, wait a second, why the heck are we getting dollar strength in here? Well, it's because at 9:30, all the retail traders are coming on board. They see all that data, and again, the retail traders are the ones that are kind of falling into this trap of, oh, you know what? Super dollar weakness, short the dollar. That's so bad, the Fed's not going to do anything, which is leading us to have, obviously, dollar strength coming into the markets right now. So I would say, my opinion on this one is we're probably seeing somewhat of a top today. Again, 17 or 70.50. That's a decent top. I don't think, let's see, where are we at here? Looking back on like a higher time frame, you can see this 70, we've had some selling going on up here at this 70.46. So we're kind of in the right area. There is a bit of a racetrack after that, and this was more news-based than anything else. So we're kind of in the right area for it. Again, with it whipping back and forth. I would say we're probably going to have some profit taking coming in. There's not, like, unfortunately, a clean level where we can say, even on a 4-hour, there's not really a clean level where you can say, hey, listen, this is, this is where we want to pull the trigger. This is it, right? This is the top. Normally, we'd like to see that, but because of all the movement that occurred right here, unfortunately, that's going to be a little more difficult. So what you're going to have to do is look at it on a smaller time frame. And again, you can see we're kind of putting tops in. But we have a green. We have a red. Now the call is going to be what happens with... Oh, did the bird just shoot a feather at you? Yeah. It's like, wait, what's going on? Why are there... Right now we have the green, we have the red. We just need the accompanying green that doesn't go any higher, and then the other red, and that gives us a confirmation we roll back down again. I'm actually looking Aussie dollar. I'm going to keep track of today with that news release tonight for unemployment and everything. This is kind of one of the ones I'm looking at, especially with what we've had, movement wise thus far today. So, I like it. I'm looking for a top to be put in, and I'm going to see how much farther down we can retrace today before we get the news for Australia. As I said, Australia kind of paused and then has to start picking back up again. They kind of stopped their raising a little bit too early. So I'm curious to see what their unemployment situation looks like right now. All right. Overall, I think areas you got to watch out for is obviously, again, I'll just extend this across. You can see how much drama was there. There's a little bit of a backstop right below it. I think we need to watch out for that one. It does give us a little bit of room down, about 70 pips. So there is some room in this one. There probably is, somewhat of a play, but we need a little bit of a pullback. We got to see what happens here. Is this just the pure profit taking, or are we looking for a reversal back down with continued dollar strength today? Okay. Now, Aussie yen. No other way to say it. Parabolic move, right? We talked about this level all the way up top. We've seen this area before, right? We had the upper area marked off. Parabolic move. Again, this came on news out of the BOJ. Launched this thing late last night. So it went right up. It did nothing in the overnight, but continued to push back down again. There's even your confirmation in this trade. So if you weren't 100% sure and you say, well, wait a second, it just turned there. Maybe you took this and said, hey, you know what? If it pulls back, I'm going to pull the trigger right there. Well, if you did, you got in. We had already marked the level from before. All it did was come back up, grab that same level. So whether you took the new top or the old top we talked about, we have a full parabolic retracement move again. And this one should have gone down till probably about here. And then you can see that's pretty much where it's turning at and slowing down at. So again, nothing we can do with that one. It just literally completed. This was a big kind of reversal on there. From that zone, you're talking about 176 pips. So great overnight based trade off a parabolic move. Again, when those work out like that, they're really, really nice trades. But we're calling for some yen movement across the board. Euro dollar. So euro dollar yesterday, we talked about this right in the middle of the chart score. We said, yep, we're here now. If you're looking for something, take it. It went all the way down, kind of found its base in the overnight, rallied back up again, and then right at that 5:30 reversal time, it ended up grabbing that level and using it a second time. And that was a 10 for 30. And then at that point, it had already been hit twice and kind of tagged it here. You're like, nah, it's no longer an area where we want to look to sell from. and it didn't. It popped through the top of it. So now we're kind of basing. And the opinion on this one is very, very similar to the Aussie dollar. We'll go up to the 4 hour on this one so you can see it. It's a 108.80. So if we go back, we can look. Oops, I don't know what I just did there. There we go. Looking at the 108.80, you can see we're kind of sitting in this range. Where is it? It's right here. There is a wick over wick there. So again, I'm on a 4 hour time frame. On a smaller time frame in this area, you are going to see there, is a zone there. Is it an automatic pull the trigger on a reversal? Not really, but know that this is kind of a change, right? This is an area we are changing. I think the more headlines and comments we get about, we're going to go to 5.25. Again, Bullard's 5.25 to 5.5. I don't think we're getting. I honestly don't think we're getting that far. Love the guy, but I don't think everybody's gonna. Nobody's riding that train to 5.5. I think 5.25 is probably the expectation. 5.5. I feel like Bullard's being a little bit optimistic, but I will say right now, as far as the euro dollar goes, I really do feel like we're looking for a signal to take this back short again. Areas where I think this one comes back down to is most likely here. It's a pretty decent run to the downside. It's about 100 pips down, so there's a lot of opportunity in here. We just kind of need to pause to give us a top. Now, I do really like the way these candles form right here. You guys can see that we do have wicks that are descending on each other, which, again, typically is a telltale sign that, sellers stepped in, buyers were unable to fight this thing all the way back up top. So I like that. I'm good with that one. It's just we need the confirmation is, some candle closings here about this rolling back again. And again, literally Barkin and, Bullard came out literally right after the news release and said, by the way, we're going to 5.25, right? Just so you guys know, we're not there yet. We're not pausing. And yet the market's like, you're pausing. So, again, market is believing when it believes. The guy that actually the guys that do the voting, they're the ones that are saying, by the way, we're not, we're going to continue to raise it. So, yeah, there's that. Euro pound. So, yesterday we talked about this level here, and we were starting to push through. We're like, yeah, it'd be nice if we got a pullback. It didn't. It just continued to go. It gave us a pullback. There was actually a nice little pullback right here, right? Now, this was a European Open, 530 reversal, continuation trade, right? So there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Very, very nice little setup right here. And a decent runner. I mean, from that level right now, this is down here about 60 pips. 60 pips is big for the euro pound. Just continuing. So, yeah, we missed the Harry Potter. We didn't really get a near-term base. Here was the first base we got. Kind of got front run here. It's like, oh, there's some sellers there. And then, bam, we tagged it right at reversal time. You can see this is a nice little setup. I don't know if anybody else grabbed this one or not. This was just what this one looks like as far as 1 to 3 goes. It's right there. So it's not even going back to the low for the morning where the open was. So great setup. And interestingly enough, you pull this across. That's what it was bouncing off of. So, made sense where it turned. What are you doing, buddy? Here, you here. 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 There we go. There we go. Look at that. There we go. Now you do it. Here, buddy, do it. So this is a great one. Now we are kind of at a new area of lows. We knew we had to punch through. We got some buyers in here right now. I would say right now we're probably going to see a little bit of consolidation. As I said, since yesterday we were up here. Where are we at? Like 930 right here. It's about 116 pips. The daily ATR is only 60. So in the last 24 hours, we've really pushed double what it's supposed to do, or what the average is that it does in a day. You have to take note of that. We are outside of what the norm is. Whenever you push that far, you kind of got to look at it and be like, all right, how much more juice does it have in it before it really kind of starts to settle back again, that whole reversion to the mean? I think that's really kind of what we got to look at and say, hey, listen, is this going to consolidate, revert back just a little bit to where it should be? And it's kind of how I feel. I feel like that's what we're going to have. Oh, now you guys want water. You're going to have to wait. I don't know that we can keep riding the train much farther. And we did get some good data. We did say that they're going to continue, the headline for the euro, right? The Fed reaches the end game as U.S. data disappoints again. Here we go. Oh, look at this. Look at this. Interesting. Bullard says a 0.5 percentage point rating increase at next meeting is appropriate. Heh. Heh. Look at that. Look at that. Meanwhile, let's see. Electronics, gasoline. Yeah, see, gasoline stations minus 4.6%. So again, we know where it's coming, but they're talking about the end game, and Bullard's like, nah, we're going 0.5, baby. Yeah, I don't know, we're getting 0.5. Like I said, love the guy, but I think it's going to be 0.25, 0.25, 0.25. I think that's how we're getting there. I don't think we're jacking in with a 0.5. But anyway, we should see, as right here, you can see in the last 60 minutes, right? We're seeing a little bit of euro strength come back into the market, and that's what's pulling it back up again. So I really feel like we're going to have a little bit of slowdown in the euro pound. But if you were able to catch this one in the overnight, great little setup on that one. And again, we were looking for a pullback. Unfortunately, left without us, but we got that pullback, and then bam, 5:30 reversal in the morning. Euro yen looks exactly like the Aussie yen. This one actually had a level up there. It was centered somewhere around the 78.6. You can see it was a pretty easy drop here. And again, I don't like 786s, but if you were a 786 trader, sorry, you didn't get into the trade, you missed it. But had you been looking for the level of basing, and particularly where it launched out the other side, nice little parabolic move. And again, this was late last night at about 11:30. This kicked in. It has retraced all the way back again at this point. So again, the analysis is kind of hard. 282 pips since midnight. Daily ATR of 167. Probably going to, again, we've gone from kind of high on that curve to low on the curve. And again, we know we have some buyers sitting down here. So I would expect it to stabilize a little bit. I don't think that this one maintains, particularly with, again, some of the comments about more of a stronger euro and, kind of being aggressive and justifying that aggressiveness. So that's what you do. There. Go ahead. I think this one starts to tick back, but this is unfortunately, this is one of those, chart school things that we can't do much with. Literally, we just had a textbook parabolic retracement move down. We literally just hit the full profit target. And yeah, sorry, not much else I can do with it. But again, knowing when these pops happen, that's the whole battle. So yeah, is what it is. And again, you got your confirmation sitting right back over here. And even from the confirmation, if you waited for it, 202 pips. So great runner on that one. Pound dollar. Now, pound dollar, we talked about a small level here. We said, hey, listen, it's okay. It's pushed deep on the test. You can see that it came up and it started to form a base right below it. Telltale sign it's going to break. It's not going to work. And not only did it do it once, it came back higher, and it also started to do it a second time. And then it based in there. You're like, yeah, it's breaking. So there was a Harry Potter trade that you could have taken out of the top side of this one. That Harry Potter trade kicked in again, 7:30 this morning. Yet news was not out till 8:30 this morning. But if you were looking at this one again, full transparency, I didn't catch this one. Again, 7:30 is we're jumping in the car so I can take the boys to school. So I didn't catch this one. I hope some of you guys did. But again, pop, base, pull back into an old level of basing, particularly after you see all this. 19 rips, risk for 16 the other direction. Nice little trade. I wish I had seen it. I wish I'd been home and able to look at the charts, but the reality is I wasn't. So hopefully you guys were able to grab that one. But we are pushing high. You are seeing a little bit more of a lot of red coming in there. And we do have a line there. This is kind of the last peak. We know that we already had sellers. And again, was it a reversal area? It was going to change their bias, but it's kind of pushed it pretty deep in there. It's not the first time we've been up to this level either. And that's exactly what we ran into. If anything, that should have been your target for your Harry Potter. This one should have ended up, you should have had it right there. It would have been like 60, 61, 62, depending on your entry. It's a 3.2, right? But again, profit target first. We may get the reversal up top. I actually wouldn't be surprised. If we, again, we get a confirmation what colors are red, green, red on this one and see it turn and roll back down again. I think overall in this one, we look for a target back down here, probably around, the pound data has been decent. It's been good, but I think 122.83 is probably where we're looking for. It's got to chop through, so I don't really love too much of it. Too much of this setup in here. I'm not as concerned. I think it kind of hits down, and I think it has the ability to grind. But a lot of it's going to come back down to what type of comments are we getting from, the Fed? Who else is saying it? Like I said, Bullard throwing that 0.5 down. I don't think the market doesn't believe them that they're going to raise it to 5. I'm sure the market believes them even less that they're going to do a 0.5 raise next time. In all fairness, a little extreme. I don't think that, market's not falling for that. But I do think we do have dollar strength coming back in, even off of those pound numbers. So I expect to see that kind of turn and roll. All right. Pound yen. Now, pound yen is not fully back. Okay. Pound yen had the same exact move. Again, you look at this, it's obviously yen based. We saw a huge spike up. Now, this one did have a good turn. It did have a retracement back again. So, again, the entries were all the same on it. It is not pulled fully back down again. And the reason why is because the reversal in this one was kind of a yen strength-based move. We've also, during that same time frame, gotten pound data, which is also pound strong. So, although it was a parabolic move, again, a lot of the times you got to look to the currency pairs that you were trading against. In this case, the Aussie and Euro were both pretty weak, right? As well as the dollar. Trading a strong pound versus a strong yen play, not necessarily what you want to do. And that's what we saw. It only went about 50% of the way back again. It didn't go fully back down again. At this point, it's probably out of steam now that we've rolled into the US session. So this is one of those ones that I don't think we're getting all the way back down again. There's nothing, what else can we say? When you go strong, that's what tends to happen a lot of times is you don't see full moves and full retracements. But again, that's why we got to pick what the best trade opportunity is there. And unfortunately, this was not it. So if you took it here, you didn't make it all the way back again. But I know many of you guys, you probably wouldn't have traded this one anyway, knowing that it was a strong base move. Okay. I kind of like to see where it goes. Right now, you can see we're hovering between the 61. Actually, I'd have to reverse it, but it's going to be exactly the same. Here, we'll reverse it back to the top side. And you can see we're coming off to 50 right now. I think it probably comes down and starts the base in there before grinding back down. I do think it has the ability to kind of, again, probably grind a little bit, but I don't think it's going to be the yen driving this one. I think it'll be probably more pound profit taking, which, again, is not going to be as strong. So is there a setup to take this one down? Not really. Not really, but there's not enough room for a Harry Potter continuation. And again, I don't really love this area here, so you know what? Maybe. It is sitting right there. And the reason I said maybe is only because that's 160, right? You got these guys going down. If this is going to be the bottom, if the 50%ers are going to get in there and change the trajectory of this one right now, and this rallies back up again, we see sellers in there without a doubt, right? They're lower on the peaks. We know it's right at a 50% retracement level, right? That's what I just drew from here to here, right? So we know that that's bisecting through. We also know that the 160 is sitting right there, which we know is a huge psychological number as well. So a lot in play on that one. Let me see. What room we have on it? How far do we need to move? All right, bye-byes. That's not horrible. I guess it's better than what I originally thought. Where would the entry be? 151.90. It's close. It's really close to that 160. I wonder if we take a little bit of heat in this one just to get up to that 160 before that kicks in. Yes, buds. Besides Debbie, I don't know anybody wants to hear you. Yeah. Yeah, I see you. Just make it a little cleaner. Right. There we go. To make it a little cleaner for you guys. All right. So yeah, so it looks like short around 195 or 195. 159.91 down to that 159.08. Again, you can see it's a pretty nice mover. 80 pips on the other side. Risk is a little bit there, but again, that is this pair. There's nothing you're going to do about it. It's always going to be a little bit bigger because the volatility is so high. Daily ATR on it is 192. So again, it's a pretty big mover. If we go straight up from there, I think that's where the play is. Ideally, if we can time it towards one of the yen releases, that helps. Can you hear him, Debbie? He's The microphone is good at kind of aiming it right towards my voice, but he's literally sitting below me, and talking straight up in the air. He's like looking up at me. So unfortunately, the cone of, I don't know, not recording, but the cone of where it pulls sound from, Kip is like 4 inches from it. So you guys may hear Kip going, singing. Yeah. Dollar CAD. So while we saw crazy movement in a lot of other things out there, dollar CAD, not so much, right? Dollar CAD is 6 pips in 24 hours, all green, but 6 pips. Okay. This is where we're at. We were looking for an entry of 133.68 yesterday. We were sitting back in this level right here, and all it did was stabilize itself. Got a little bit weak, and then this morning, 5:30, again, no movement in the European session. Reversal time, we started to see dollar strength roll back into the market. And then again, a little bit of a kickback for the news, and now it is driving higher. So unlike a lot of the other pairs, this one is not super clean, right? And again, a lot of this has to do with, again, oil prices, and some of it has to do with China and what's coming in their economy. So, a little bit hard of a play. But again, 6 pips in 24 hours. There's not really a major trend in this. If anything, I would say we're still going sideways. Again, when we see that, we go to the next pair. There's nothing to trade. We want something that has the ability to move. Now, dollar Swiss. We were saying it'd be really, really nice if we can get to news time, right? We were seeing some weakness roll in. And again, we were over here yesterday. We kind of pulled back up, and it's like, yeah, we know that's a 23. We know we have some selling in there. Be nice if we could get, if we can get somewhere close to that 91.80. Well, look what happened. 1 o'clock in the morning, this thing took off, broke through, paused for half hour, pushed down. We rallied up just in time for this one to continue lower. Now, I will say on this one, from the 6 to 8:30 time frame, you did see the dollar kind of rally back up versus the Swiss. Unfortunately, I would love to tell you that this one worked out exactly how we talked about, but you missed it. There's your entry, and it missed it. We talked yesterday about how the dollar Swiss tends to get some kind of easier to see setups. There was a setup. It was pretty close. It moved for the hour before news in the right direction of what we were looking for the setup. Fortunately, it missed it just by like a little tiny bit at 8, right? 8:15, 8:30, right in there. Pulled back down again, and then here's the news. So again, it did, the price action moved exactly how you would assume price action would move. Unfortunately, we just missed the entry on it a little bit. So again, it is what it is. There's nothing we can do to change it. So now, and again, we marked this off late. We said we had 2 zones lower. So we're bouncing off these lower zones, and you're kind of seeing this one come back again. I'm curious to see if this same level now becomes an area where we're looking for. Again, it was the level early this morning when we drew the fibs all the way down. Now it just happens to be the proximal side of the 23.6. So, again, it's one of those things that you got to keep on your radar. We still have some time to go. We're not there yet. We need to move about another 40 pips. So we got a couple hours worth of movement or some big headline to get up there again. But you got to look at this and say, hey, listen, if they're going to continue with this dollar weakness, opinion, when the profit taking of this comes in and raises back up again, we just need one more weak dollar, $1 headline of weakness, and this should continue to push lower, right? So it's there. I think watch out for it. I would say, again, keep this on your radar as far as potential entries go. A lot of people will be looking at it. And again, just be cautious because there will be an area right here just ahead of that one where aggressive sellers are going to start coming back in again. So potentially, you could almost miss this one just because of the aggressiveness coming in a little bit early. Okay. Yeah. So just watch out for that one. All right. Dollar yen. There we go. So you can see we did have a pop late last night. Now, this level, yesterday morning, we were sitting kind of here, right? We talked about the entry. It got stopped. It ran into this level. We talked about a rock and a hard place, really kind of bouncing back between the two. And you can see it. Came back up, came and hit it again, came again, and then bam, that's where we had that yen parabolic move. Now, it went back down and it started the base. Okay, so this short actually gets moved over to here. Okay, reason why is because, again, We knew we had basing, got front run. 1, 2, 3. What happens at number 4? We expect a break. 4 actually turned, and 5 is what launched right through it. So we weren't really looking for a short after that level, but we know that was an old level, and if we can get basing in that, then we can have a continuation. Well, it came right over here. So trade is out. Again, this one, it's funny. The parabolic move really kind of rolled right into it, coming back again, and then was finished by the U.S. news weakness this morning, right? So it was a combination of the yen strength from the parabolic move coming in, and then it literally lumped right on top because, again, this is Aussie dollar, euro dollar, pound dollar. It looks exactly the same, except this one had the dollar data to kind of finish it off. Now, unfortunately, we were looking for this to bounce off of 127.50. It made it down to 127.56. So we missed this one by a little bit, but at the same time, at this point that we were looking for it to kind of roll and potentially be there for news. It wasn't. The parabolic move up kind of took that away from that level. And inside of this short, this was more of a target than it was anything else, right? We knew that we had some buying and selling coming in over here. It was a target. As you can see, that was well past the 1 to 3. This is actually 3.2 right now. 1 to 3 is only right there. It's pushing it right back to the bottom. So again, we're out of the trade. All the yen pairs are exactly the same. We've just completed these things. So nothing we can do with it. But again, for next time, if you see this, again, there was 2 different setups in this one. Not only the parabolic move, and again, your red, green, red came in right here. This one up until the U.S. news dropped 175 pips. Through the whole thing, 310 pips. So definitely, definitely a pretty big mover. I mean, we literally on the spike, we're at 131, and now we're talking about 128.19. We're actually 127.50. So major movement in this one today. Again, with a daily ATR of 183, this one has been on fire, right? Completely on fire. Right now, our kind of off things, crypto is obviously, they're all seeing a little bit of strength now. Ethereum, take note of Ethereum, it's trying to break through that 1600. And again, people are just slamming into this dollar like, that's it. Dollar's not going to raise anymore. But they keep telling us that's going to happen. TLT also taking a big pop up today. And if you look at this, it started last night. It's almost, again, almost like they knew, right? The ETF on bonds, it's almost like they knew what the data was going to be. It took off last night at, 5, 6 o'clock. And this is where the market closed. And it's like, oh, yeah, tomorrow? Okay, great. It's like the data was out. All right. So here's where we were sitting yesterday, right? Right at that reversal time. Now, had you taken this one, this was a little bit risky. We talked about it being a little bit lower. We were messing with the 23. We're messing with an area here. It ended up kind of finding buyers there. It went down to a 2.5, right? Not always what you want. You like to get the full 3 in there. But again, once it started the base down here, if you were short this one, you got to know you got to take yourself out. There's nothing you can do about it. So right now, oil's continuing to chop higher, right? You can see how long it's been in this zone, right? In, out, in, out, in. It's just boom, 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 boom. Finally broke and hit it. You may look at this and say, hey, this is kind of like a Harry Potter trade. And I was to say, yeah, it did. It went up, it based, it came back down on that violation, is now starting to click higher, up into that 83.50 range. Now, we know we have a zone up there of sellers, right? Sitting up there right around that 83.50. Got to say right now, data wasn't great, but the news out of China about how they're going to blow it out of the water, again, that's technically some bullish fundamental data coming in for oil. So I hate to say this, but I feel like there's a high probability in the next few days we could be talking about oil up at that 83.50. If it rolls there, again, I think that's probably where I feel confident with the next kind of short. But the feeling is just with the data that we've got, with the market ignoring the Fed and be like, nah, we're good. We're just going to roll right through this. It's no big deal. I feel like China has the, for lack of a better word, China has the trump card, right? Chinese economy exploding, high demand on oil. And yeah. There's even less supply out in the market, although China will get a lot of their discounted oil from Russia, not from the United States. But internationally, it'll be a general supply. So I feel like we're hitting this one. Natural gas accelerating a little bit. There's where we drew it yesterday. So we were sitting here yesterday, right here. We drew it. We were expecting to come down to 326-ish range. It got to 334. So missed this one by about 7-8 cents. But I don't think this one's over. Again, we were up so big yesterday. I think this one had the ability to come back down, and it did. 4 is not 9, right? It was up 9. But I'm okay with this one. I like this one coming down. I think if oil could suddenly turn nasty, I think this one could finally come down and meet its full profit target. So holding pretty firm, looking good here. Gold and silver, they are actually at the same amount now, and you're seeing, here's the top we talked about yesterday. That's actually Sunday, right? Yesterday morning we were sitting here. We said, hey, listen, there's a decent top in there. Maybe we can shrink it just down to the move. That's exactly what we ran off this morning. You may look at this and be like, wait a second, I don't understand. Interest rates, right? That was weak. Well, it's going down right now because everybody knows that was weak data. So everybody right now is trying to short dollar, right? And then you got Bullard saying, hey, we're going to do 0.5, right? You're not. He's not going to do 0.5, but you guys get what I'm saying. So not surprising. Again, the release was great. It literally drove it straight up early on. But again, very, very weird that at 1 o'clock in the morning, boom, it was like oil was like, yeah, it just took off. Again, and when the news came out, now we're starting to see it pull back from that upper level, right? That 1925 level. So yeah, I like this one rolling back down. I think I'm curious to see if we're going to get down and test 1900 again, right kind of in this level. 1910. Yeah, we may have a little issue. Maybe a little hiccup right there at 1910. But overall, I'd like this one to get down to 19. So, yeah. Yeah, that's where I think we're going gold. And also silver, again, silver's up a little bit, but silver never actually made it all the way back up top. It did run into this level here, which it's not as high quality as that one. But you can see we're floating back near the 24 again. Look, just stabilized itself. Again, 1 o'clock in the morning, it popped. But once it ran into these sellers, look at this. Look at the drama where gold came here. Silver only made it halfway and it's starting to accelerate. So again, as we start to see, if we see this acceleration continue, we should also see gold also going back into kind of the same level. All right. Yeah. So nothing exciting with them. Let's see what we got for Apple. Apple, nice little pop up today. Tesla, again, I love this. Green, but since it's opened, it's been coming straight back down again, trying to refill that gap. Apple also, again, a little bit of a gap up and then powered, but it also looks like it's turning and flipping. And again, you got to be really concerned at 1017 when you see Apple topping like that. Are all the indices about to turn red? And with them all in the green right now, I think it's important to note, again, the comments that we're seeing out of the Fed, they're going to do what they say they're going to do. They're the ones that make the decision. And the market is just kind of ignoring it. But I feel like when finally somebody looks at this and says, hey, listen, they're raising it. They keep saying this, right? They're not going to just blatantly lie and be like, oh, yeah, we changed our mind, right? That's the Fed. Again, they're looking long term. They're not looking short term, and they're not close to where their mandate is. Question is, when does big business say, okay, we got to really stick it to the retail trader at this point? They're all in. Let's get them now, right? Because eventually what happens is enough people are going to be worried about this one, but the whole fear of missing out thing definitely kicks in. Like, you know what? Maybe it's just going to go higher, right? Maybe the Fed, maybe they know something we don't because the market keeps rallying. That's when they close the trap, and that's where they, again, start to, they make a lot of money and they start making a lot of other people lose money. So, yeah, again, interesting. Wow, look at the top of that one. All right. So again, here's your bottom base with confirmation. So yeah, there's your 830. So your news trade on this one, it didn't matter what side you took it from. There was your overnight base. You touched it and it went up. If you took the top side, it went up and it also completed back to the downside. So unfortunately, let's see, 930 is right here. There was too much. Both zones were tagged, right? Both zones were hit at 830 today. So again, would not have qualified for opening print, right? Yeah, not a great trade. But again, look, we can sit in this cross. There you go. You're good to go. Either way, doesn't matter. You can see there's your distance, and this is even a smaller zone. So love that. Love the fact that we tag both zones in the one candle. So no opening print there. Let's see. 930 is down. Yeah, I mean, the 915 candle is red. So you expected a bit of a pop, and it did pop. It just didn't go to a zone. use that same level. Look at that. 830 use that same thing. Hmm. Yeah, it wouldn't hit it though. 11,760. Confirmation's a little bit lower, but we'll just leave it right there. It's close. Oops. There you go. 10 o'clock. So again, ran into a zone. It turned and rolled on that zone. So yeah, I mean, this is the second strongest, but I think you got to be real leery about this one. I think this one is you know, as of right now, obviously, it is in the green. Opening print was here. We're flirting with again starting to be open. So nice little whips all up, grab the higher time frame zone, and then it's turned and rolled back to the downside. So yeah, no opening print, unfortunately, being right here. It was kind of smack in the middle of two areas. It just there wasn't enough movement here, right? There was not a zone here, and you didn't come back down to the confirmed zone. So again, the 830 is kind of what took that one and ran away with it, unfortunately. But again, nice little roll off this 10 o'clock. Um, so we're technically in the red, but from where the open is, it's up here. We're a little bit more in the red than they thought. So, yeah, again, zone here, right? We knew we had a touch. We had a touch. This is hit number 3. We're not interested, but you can see it did bank and roll off a bit, and we'll go back down again. Same thing on the bottom side. This is where you had the big movement in price, and that's kind of where we're hitting on right now. So, unfortunately, YM would not have had again, look at this. Wick, 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 wick. So yeah, this is the 930 is the second green one. So no, nothing the trade opening print wise there. Although we just did tag profit from here. So I'm curious, was that what is that a fib level? I feel like it is not. No, it's not. Yeah, but that's tagged. So this is going to be the big question right now. Again, YM is the weakest. There is an area of buyers here. We do know that it's starting to kind of bounce off that buying area. Is this going to be the bottom for the day, or are we going to come back down and test those? And does this thing fall through the floor? Again, 1022, for the most part, since the open, the whole market has been straight down. So if we're going to see a reversal, now is the right time for it to come in. And YM being the weakest, again, you're seeing it pull off those buyers that were there before. So this may be a backstop for today. So we may actually be able to end this one on a green with them rolling up. And again, Russell never even pulled back. Here it is again. 915 candle in the red saying, oh, look, and it's pulling back before the open. And then boom, red, green, but it didn't hit the zone. Unfortunately, you would have to draw this one down here. Right? There's rear confirmation that zone is coming in. It didn't come back enough. But we're looking for a long trade because this candle is in the red. So, now let's see. Is this at a potential level? Nah. I guess it kind of is. When we've been up here in the past, we've run in the sellers. Right? This is what we're playing with right now. Yeah, we got a little bit more room to pop on this. Right? That's the top of this move. So we're close. We're close. Right? So again, it looks like 1030 reversals definitely are in play today. Again, ES is still chopping between two zones. Nothing on that one. Again, turning and rolling from this one. YM, again, stuck between those two levels. You can see it on the hourly really easy. And again, Russell up top. Dollar's trying to get some strength back. Did we get another headline? No, just this one. Oh, the Fed reaches the end game. Really? I don't feel like they are. That didn't really pop out. private policy. These are both going up too. Hmm. Hmm. It'd be interesting. All right, let's check on. Oh, we had a holiday, so it's probably tomorrow, right? Yeah, tomorrow. Trying to see if they threw a forecast in there for crude oil, but we don't have it yet. Hmm. Don't forget, later on today we will get the API oil inventory report, and we can start planning out this oil trade. Oh, man, I really hope. Yeah. So we'll see. If this is the bottom, 101, 101.50. Yeah, 101.54 was the bottom here. If we start to rally back up, it could definitely turn things sour for the rest of the day. Oil, there you go. Oil continuing to roll. That was yesterday's. Let's pull. Whoops. I don't know. Can we get a full 1 to 3 in? Yep, 1 to 3 is right there. So oil's in. Natural gas. Yeah, we're still pushing down. It's a red candle gun. Silver collapsing. Gold also looking like it's going to collapse. All right. So again, unfortunately, that was big news today. The market's taking it as such. The dollar kind of fight back a little bit. And again, Bullard again, you can see these are all red. He's not just the nobody. Where Barkin is kind of like, yeah, we're not. It's way too soon. But again, it's a consistent message that it's way too soon, and they're not going to make the mistake of ending too early. Again, he's not considered anything major. But Bullard is one of the big players. Again, the most hawkish of all. Again, has always been much higher than was asked for. He was the one that was made look right with saying we should be raising 1 and we did 0.5, and then had to spend the next year raising it every time because we didn't do enough in the beginning. You know, yeah, yeah. That's an error on the side of caution in order to allow the global economy is approved. This is the other reason why oil is moving. Approved easing recession risks in Europe and China moving towards reopening. Yeah, could feed that, but that could feed. Yeah, I agree with this one. China's move could yeah. Unexpected. Yeah, it's because people kept spending money. Um, yeah. Hmm. All right, let's go ahead and do the draw line. Couple minutes early today. Yeah, interesting. I don't know. I like 8:30 news releases, but man, when you're trying to you know, trying to trade that open, it's kind of hard when you have such big news, right? And everything is so like, oh, is that good for inflation? Is that bad for inflation? Like I miss the days where like retail sales was like, what's it going to do down the road? Like, how is that going to, are people looking at this and saying company earnings are going to be good, right? Now they're just looking at this and being like, it's kind of like they believe half the data, but they don't believe the other. It's like, if the data supports their narrative, they're all over it, right? But when the data doesn't, they just pretend that the data doesn't exist, right? It's that like selective hearing thing. It's crazy. I can't. You want me to say the person? I can say the person there, but you know what happens if I say the person, right? You know what happens when I say it. It wasn't you. I can say that. I don't think that's me saying your name, right? But I feel like if I say the person's name, I'm not even telling you the gender of the person. Maybe that gives it away, right? Maybe that gives it away, right? But I didn't say anything. I have not said a thing, right? I cannot be blamed for however this one turns out. I'm just, for the record, yeah, you're good. So, all right, let's close it down. Winner of today's drawing is Mr. Eki. Look at that. Eki taking it again. Again, Eki in there consistently, right? Right. Let's go over here. Whoops, not that one. Leaderboard. Look at this. Oh, Eki's getting closer, right? So again, we did not have a repeat today, but Eki snuck in, right? On the holiday week. Anyway, like I said, a lot of this data coming in 8:30 today. A lot of the trades are done. That massive movement in the yen was awesome in the overnight. Hopefully, you guys are able to take advantage of that parabolic move. Again, we know tomorrow, not a lot of big things, but again, the Philly Fed Manufacturing Index, I think, could really kind of surprise a lot of people, as well as unemployment claims. And again, labor's been so good; it's considered an orange move. It's expected to go up a little bit. Again, I think it really depends on what sector you're in at this point. You know, obviously tech is not the best place to be in right now. Maybe that ticks a little bit higher than expected. But if it does, here's the thing. If it does tick up higher than expected, I feel like the market's going to be up, right? They're not going to take that as a bad sign. They're going to take that as the Fed's not going to raise, even though the Fed keeps saying, yes, we are going to keep raising. So anyway, good trading to everybody today. If you need me for anything, shoot me a message on Discord. I will be around today. If not, I will catch you back on tomorrow morning, 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. Thank you for joining me today, and I'll catch you then. You guys all take care and have a good one.